Oh yeah, I was supposed to explain what happened at work, wasn't I? And I haven't done that. I guess now's the time for that. Welcome to my messy apartment. As you can see, it's not getting better, it's getting worse. Much like my mental health, but that's a separate tragedy. Or is it? At this point, I'm just sleeping in cracker crumbs because I just don't give a fuck anymore. So I was told that today would be the day I start training for the night position and going to the chemical line and learning about the other department that I'll be supposedly taking a more important position with and working overnights. And it looked like that's what was going to happen. The phone known as Shauna. Known as Shauna because it has a picture of Shauna. Not that I know who Shauna is, other than that's cat butt. Thanks for sharing your butt hole there, Nugget. That's what everybody wanted to see. Wrong pen, of course it is. Let's try this again. That's Shauna. I just know that from the information left behind on this phone. Not that I have any idea who Shauna is, but I leave her picture there because, I don't know. I guess I just wish I had a Shauna. So where was I? Yeah, so that weird little sound you heard, that phone makes that noise all the time. And then I look at it, and there's no push-through message. I didn't get a message or anything. There's no notice. It just makes those funny little noises all the time. I don't understand why. Other than, it's an Obama phone, and it's just probably there to boost engagement. As you saw when I first opened it, it didn't go to a normal unlock screen. It went to a bullshit newsreader that you can't make go away. And that's not what I want to see when I hit the button to activate that phone. I want to see Shauna. By the way, there's a lot more intimate pictures of Shauna on that phone. But enough about Shauna. So, I was there working the baler for, I don't know, only maybe about 30, 40 minutes. I just kind of barely started. Maybe an hour into my shift, if that. And Richard comes by with some new people, 4 new people. He comes over to tell me that this new guy is going to be running the baler, and that I'm going with him to see Omar, who runs the department that I'm transferring to, and he's going to be showing me about my new night position. And I'm like, nice. So I get really excited. I'm like, yeah, wow, this is really happening. And to the point where they've got some new guy to do the baler. Cool. Well, they end up kind of having me train him on how to do the baler, which is super awkward because he doesn't speak a lick of English. At least he speaks Spanish, and it was not good, but it was not awful. But after a while, we both kind of settled into this fact that we had a partnership in which we couldn't communicate so well, but we were somehow communicating okay anyway. Dude's a hard worker, a smart guy, nice guy. I feel a little guilty because once he kind of caught on to what was going on, I was sort of letting him do the bulk of the work, especially after I realized that tonight was ELO and I'm probably not going to get to go, and my head went to such a dark place, and even less after I heard from Priscilla, and she said, oh yeah, she's going, and she got a ticket from friends that didn't offer me a ticket because I'm not that cool, I guess. And you come here to show off your butt some more, Nugget? Anyway, the when he goes to the baler, I'm thinking somebody else is going to show him how to operate it. And not the first time I've misunderstood Richard. Seems like that happens a lot. I thought he was telling me that he's there to run the baler, and they were talking to other people there, more leadership type people in building 2. Telling him, yeah, he's running the baler. Daniel's coming to see Omar, going to the other department, blah, blah, blah. And so I walk off with him and the 3 other new people that were with him. And we walk across the little walkway over to building 1, and there's a golf cart there. This is a very big facility, so, a lot of the managers or, more important people go from building to building in little golf carts. And I'm getting the other new guys are getting in the golf cart, and I'm getting in the golf cart. And then I realized that there's one guy that is getting down. There's really only room for like a driver and then 3 passengers, 1 in the front seat on the passenger side, and then 2 in the back seat, which faces backwards. It's kind of like a rumble seat, and which is where I sat. I'm not wanting to sit next to Richard. And, I don't dislike Richard, but he does make me feel kind of awkward, I guess. Some supervisors I feel super at ease with and I love hanging out with. Like Derek who ran the warehouse over at Factor. I really miss hanging out with him and work with him. But I try not to spend any more time with Richard than I have to because he makes me feel very uncomfortable, and I really don't know why. I get the feeling it's kind of mutual, though, and I haven't really figured out why that is. But he does recognize that I'm a good worker, so that's the important thing. Anyway, I sit there, and this other new guy's walking up. He's looking kind of confused, like, where the hell is he going to sit? Because, it'd be 3 people in that back seat would be kind of snuggly. Someone that you're intimate with, it would be kind of nice, but 3 dudes that don't know each other that are working together, it's a little awkward. And I'm like, dude, I guess you're climbing up top. And I point to the like canvas shade roof thing, at which point Richard turns around and goes, oh, no, you need to go back to the baler. Omar will be coming to get you in just a little bit. And I could have sworn he said to go with him, that he was taking me to see Omar. I could have sworn he said that. Maybe he didn't. Maybe I misinterpreted him. I don't know. Wouldn't be the first time or even the second or third time I misinterpreted something that Richard said regarding what he wanted me to do. Which is one of the reasons I'm so uncomfortable when I'm around Richard. Anyway, that's fine. I walked back to the baler and I'm kind of excited. I'm thinking, well, this other guy's taking over it. And the way he told me to go back, he wasn't like, go back to work. It was just like, go wait. Could have sworn he said, go wait there. Omar's coming to get you. And I'm glad I didn't just like pop a squat and sit and do nothing. Because I'd have literally been doing that to the end of the shift. And yeah, that wouldn't have gone over well. No, I just went back to operating the baler, which was good because they dropped the guy who speaks no English there and didn't really tell him anything. So he was kind of lost as far as what he was supposed to do. Now, I get the feeling he's operated a baler before. If not, man, he's a hell of a fast learner, and props to him for that. We had some issues with the baler, and I don't want to get into details, but let's just say that Omar never came. And then, the whole ELO thing and the whole Priscilla thing just making me more and more and more fucking depressed. And I'm just waiting for Omar to come so I can get away from there. Because at this point, like once the new guy was really catching on as to what he was doing, I just felt redundant and unnecessary. And in some ways, it almost felt like the new guy was doing better at running the baler than I was. And it's just kind of the thing of I'm a small guy and I can only carry so much and put so much force into stuff. And when I'm operating machinery like a baler, what makes me efficient on it is that I'm thinking harder about how I'm doing it. And I'm finding ways to optimize the machinery and fold the material into it to where I get more in each time I compact it, as opposed to just brute force and picking up a whole bunch at once and shoving it all in there. Well, this guy can, because I really can't pick up a whole bunch at once. And I don't know if it's just because I'm fucking, fucking weakling, or because I'm weak and old, or although there's guys there that are older than me that can pick up a whole bunch of stuff too. So I can't really blame it on my age. I'm just fucking weak. It is what it is. Or if it's just my general aversion to just touch, I mean, I do like working with my hands, but I don't like just grabbing a whole bunch of stuff. Like I don't know. It's just me, I guess. I can't really explain it, but the way I do it is I kind of have a way of grabbing stuff and folding it and trying to manipulate it in tight pieces that are going to expand and lock themselves into place. And I just kind of, in my head, visualize how big of a space I have left in the baler and how it's going to go in there, and how it's going to expand and lock itself in place, so I can put every piece in place and just kind of maximize the space in it and then crush it down, rinse and repeat. Well, when I'm working with someone else, it doesn't really work like that, because they're not inside my head and they're doing different stuff. And it's the old saying, lead, follow, or get out of the way. And I'm the kind of guy that when faced with that, you little shit, get down off my turntable. I got to figure out some way to get Nugget to quit getting on the turntable. God damn it. I put that piece of cardboard there in hopes that would discourage him, since there wouldn't be a clear path to go through. But no, little shitball, she still keeps getting up there, and there's not a lock for that tone arm. Like, it kind of locks into place, but it doesn't like have a latch on it. And yeah, there is a lid for the turntable, but I don't have the hinges for the lid. So it makes using the lid very awkward and difficult. So I don't know. I got to figure out something with that, because, I've never had a problem with Shiba, or before Shiba, Sambo or Shadow getting on it. But fucking Nugget's a dipshit. That's the kind of shit she does, and there's just no... I've yelled at her and smacked her a million times. It doesn't convince her to stay off the turntable, which of course is not good for my turntable or my records. I don't know what I'm going to do about it. That's the least of my problems right now. Speaking of turntables and records, in my last Amazon order, I bought another one of these. I think it's like the third or fourth one I've bought. But it's marketed by Gemini. It's a rather nice head shell. Like pro level head shell, very similar in style to like the Techniques professional ones. With I forget what cartridge model, but kind of a low end but good sounding Audio Technica cartridge. I'm not sure if it's the same cartridge I have on my turntable, and of course it's so dark y'all can't see it anyway, but I think that's the cartridge I have on this turntable. No, because my stylus was originally not stylus, but oh my god. Not the cartridge, not the, well, I guess technically the stylus, but the plastic, part that holds the stylus was yellow. And then I upgraded it to one that's red, that's compatible with the cartridge. And I think this one is compatible as well. Like, I could probably put this, I think I could swap out this stylus with the cartridge that's on the turntable and vice versa. But anyway, every so often when I go on Amazon, because I've bought multiple of these, it'll come up as a suggested thing via the algorithm. And every now every now and then they're on sale super fucking cheap, and yeah, they just came on sale super cheap. And one of my stylists says, "You better not even look at that turntable." Nugget was looking at it like she was getting ready to pounce on it, and I just kicked her to the floor. I hope at some point she'll learn, but she just hasn't yet. Anyway, there's a turntable that's one that I was rebuilding for somebody, and then when I had it about 90% done, he decided that he didn't want to buy it, which sucks because I was really kind of counting on that income at that time. Had a new cartridge and stylus on it, but the thing has been so not well cared for that the stylus has been destroyed with probably less than 5 hours of playing time on it, which sucks. In fact, I think it was one of these white styluses exactly like this. But anyway, I kind of feel like I need another one for that. And it wasn't like I need one of these right now, but every now and then it pops up my recommended at such a low sale price that I figure I should get it while I can. And I did. So did I need that? No. Will I need it at some point? For sure. And I got a good deal on it. So I think I'm going to put it up here, up there behind my Beastie Boys special edition that I still have yet to take the shrink wrap off of. Anyway, back to my story at work. Yeah, I kept just my headspace was just getting worse and worse as the day went on. Just thinking about the whole situation with Priscilla and ELO and work, and just waiting for this Omar guy to come get me, who's never showing up. Oh, he'll be right over. And nobody's even telling me anything. So it's just, and at some point someone was like, well, maybe they decided to give that position to somebody else. I'm like, oh, fabulous. And my depression is just getting like really, it's my head's just really in a bad place. And I'm thinking, I'm thinking about ELO, and I'm having visions of just drowning into non-existence while hearing The Whale off of Out of the Blue, which is an instrumental piece on the album Out of the Blue. I'll try to put a link to that in the description for those who've never heard The Whale by Electric Light Orchestra. And it's just like running through my head as I'm having visions of myself just drowning and no longer having to deal with the burdens of work and life and loneliness and rejection and crushed hopes and expectations and all the things that makes my life so fucking miserable. And anyway, at one point, Ben, the plant supervisor, who I had the really positive interactions with last Tuesday and Wednesday, and who talked to me about, well, God, you've got the skills, exactly what we're looking for this overnight position, blah, blah, blah. Like, love to get you into that. When you're done, come talk to management in the office, which of course ended up only being Miranda, who by the way is hot, but she is such an HR cliche. It's funny. And I'm not fond of HR cliches. Although the meeting with her went really, really good. I just wonder how much of that was like genuine, her kind of feeling positive about me, and how much of that was her just being a HR puppet. I'm thinking mostly HR puppet. But anyway, because why would she be excited about me, right? Anyway, yeah, no Miranda today, and she told me when I talked to her Friday that she wouldn't be in today, and that's fine. But yeah, I can tell like the shift is kind of winding down, and Ben rolls by the baler on the golf cart, and he looks at me, and I must have just had that look on my face like I'm just fantasizing about drowning and dying, because at the moment I was fantasizing about drowning and dying, and thinking that would be a lot more pleasant than what I was doing or anything else that I might be doing ever again. And he's like, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Well, I was told at about 6 o'clock that Omar was coming to get me, and now it's like almost 1. And what happened?" And at least I got some positivity from Ben. He said that he apologized for nobody telling me what was going on. He said that they had some kind of a chemical problem, like where a batch of foam or whatever didn't come out right, but some kind of a chemical issue. And I don't know what all was involved in the making of foam, but obviously it's a chemical thing, and sometimes formulas are wrong. I mean, I do a lot of kitchen work, and when the recipe gets mixed wrong, sometimes things are not so good. So I can just imagine the recipe of whatever chemicals make up different types of foam and how that can go wrong. But anyway, it was kind of explaining how just a big batch or whatever, and that they were having to call chemists and engineers or something. It whatever it was, it all went over my head. It was like, oh, that sounds bad. And it's like, yeah, he's completely occupied with that, blah, blah, blah. And my apologies, somebody should have told you. And he goes, no, we'll get you going, we should have you in there tomorrow. Sorry we didn't tell you. He goes, but hey, you're working, you're getting paid, right? I was like, well, yeah. So I'm just feeling redundant. And he goes, well, that's why we brought... I said, but this new guy is awesome, and he seems to have caught on really well. He goes, although we had like 2 bales that were extremely problematic, I'm not even going to go into the details on that, but I feel like I fucked up on both of them. But that's a couple of separate tragedies. But anyway, yeah, he been... said that, and he goes, oh no, it's still happening, it's still going forward, at least you're getting paid. I said, yeah, I'm and he said that like I should be happy, and I guess the reality is I should be happy, right? But I'm just so not. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. And I'm sure I said it with all the enthusiasm of somebody that is getting marched to death row, and he's like, well, are you all right? I said, it's just some other stuff going on in my head. I'm not really in a great place today. He said, it's not work related. Thanks for letting me know what's going on. And he's like, yeah, well, we'll see you tomorrow. Keep up the good work. And rolled off. It was kind of awkward. But, if he doesn't see the depths of my depression, eventually it's going to come out, because it's just where I am. And I don't see anything positive enough to really change that happening. I never hear from, my interactions with Priscilla, pretty much all, even when she seems like she's trying to be positive, they usually always make me more depressed. And now I don't even remember her name. That's terrible. The woman I was so infatuated with from work while that every now and then would work over at Factor with me. I'm literally having trouble remembering her name. It's terrible. I know we both have daughters named Lily that are the same age. That chick. She never contacts me at all anymore. I mean, she usually always responds when I message her, but it's just felt very one-sided for quite a while, and obviously she's just not that interested. She's not interested at all. So I'm sure at this point she's just written me off. Written me off as too old, or written me off as too much of a loser, one or the other. Or she's, kind of guy that excites her a whole lot more than I do, which wouldn't probably take much. And I mentioned Tara, the woman I've been working with at the Circle K up on Coulter. I actually saw her after my show on Saturday. And she had the store actually open. It wasn't closed or locked up, which was kind of surprising because usually if I go there after bar close, the doors are locked. But yeah, she was working, and she told me she was going to the graveyard shift. So she was there. We hung out a little bit and talked, and that was pretty cool. But I texted her when I got home to let her know I got home okay, since I was riding on a scooter, and it's a potentially dangerous sort of way to get home. And she hasn't texted me back since. So obviously she's not particularly into me either. I mean, she's really friendly, and I like her, but it doesn't feel like there's any kind of potential for happiness there. So anyway, that was a waste of 26 minutes. But hey, at least I got that story out, right? I'm going to put on an ELO record and try to go to sleep. And I just had to smack Nugget away again because she was headed for the goddamn turntable. There are days I think about just putting her in a fucking cat carrier and putting the food in there and just leaving her in there for a while because she's just too much most of the time.